So Namaloha, everyone. Can you put your name and your where you're logging in from if you want to? And also your type, your human design type. And if you don't know your type, always go down into the information box and you'll find a link and you can get your free chart there. And you can also put your zodiac, sun, moon, rising if you wish to. Okay, so let me just share my screen right here. There we go. So this is this live stream is all about Saturn going direct. So just to give you the dates, and so you can reflect. Reflection is a big theme for this Saturn. Saturn going direct. So it's been retrograde since June 4th, 2022. So if you can reflect back what you've been working on, your inner work since June 4th. So Saturn is very karmic. It's very karmic. It's the ruler of karma. And when it's retrograde, when Saturn is retrograde, it just doubles the karma, right? It gets more and more intense. That's what a retrograde planet does. So if you can, and it's all about maturing. Saturn is about maturation. It's about responsibility. It's about duty. It's about growing up as a spiritual adult, really, to speak in those terms. So say you have a dependent, a child or somebody else that's dependent upon you. You might have been focused on that, or a job or a career or someone in your life that you felt like this kind of that you just knew, I need to focus on this. Well, that's karma. So karma can come from past lives, So if somebody, so if somebody abandoned their family, they shirked their duties, that would be like going against Saturnian lessons. Well, then in this lifetime, they'll attract something where they have to pay back. Right? They have to pay back. And that can be being responsible for someone financially, right? Or emotionally, right? It's about the balance, coming into balance. Well, with Saturn going direct, this means that the karma is paid. So that's good news for us as we move forward. As long as you got the lesson, right? With Saturn. What else did I want to say about that? Well, let's get into the shadow, because you guys know I like to jump around here. Oh, so the 13, here we go. So it's the Saturn right here. This is the Saturn direct. It goes direct October 22nd. So things may intensify a little bit for the next 7 days to pay off this karma. So with karma, you want to have a smile on your face, right? Whatever struggles that you're going through right now, it's to make you stronger. That's what Saturn is about. It's to make you stronger. I was meditating on this today, that it's like a birth, right? We're being birthed individually and as a collective, humanity. That during the birthing process, there's the pushing muscles, the pushing the baby out. But there's also the holding muscles that actually holds the baby, and it's been holding the baby for 9 months basically. Well, the holding muscles don't let go, right? They don't let go right away until they know that everything is strong and everything is secure, that the pushing muscles are strong enough. Well, this is kind of Saturnian, isn't it, right? It's ensuring that we're strong enough to hold these higher frequencies, these higher vibrations, right? So we can be tested during this time, especially if you're a teacher or a healer or a life coach. You have some kind of responsibility to others. Well, you'll be tested. Like, what's your commitment? Here's Saturn's going to throw up a roadblock. Are you going to go belly up or turn and run away and go back to the old life, the old self? Or are you going to persist, right? That's a Saturnian word, is persistence. So you may have gone through tests like that, or money tests too. Money's a big test, a Saturnian test, right? Like, how committed are you? How much are you willing to sacrifice for your soul purpose, for your soul's journey, to make sure that you're strong enough, right? because the divine wants to know, what are you made of, right? And this is when your character really comes forward. You never know how strong tea is until you put it in the hot water, right? You never know how strong someone's character is until you put them in under a lot of stress. So it's a time to celebrate during this time, right? That you made it through. So okay, so it's the 13. So you can see there's the glyph for Saturn here, 13.6. This is when it goes direct, October 22nd. And it's in the shadow of discord. It's the gift of discernment and empathy right there. So you can see it up here. I circled the 13 with the red circle. So this is the G center. This glyph right here, right, is the G center. And you can see the 13, right? And then the 33. So if the 33 were activated by a planet, then these two would be colored in. So the G center is your sense of self, and love and direction, right? This is the sense of self. That's what it represents. So it forms the channel if this were activated, because the channel, the other side, also gives us information about what this 13 is all about. This is the channel of the witness. Well, it's actually the channel of the prodigal, the design of the witness, but I like the channel of witness. This is about witnessing your life, watching the movie unfold, right? Your life. And it gives you detachment. That's a real key word these days, right? As we enter into the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is about detachment, not getting emotionally in the washer, right? The washing machine, where you're like, if you're a piece of clothing in the washing machine, you're going back and forth, being batted around. Well, most people live their life like that. Well, this channel of the witness is the detachment, so you're not being batted around, right? Like that. So it gives you, allows you to witness life, especially if you have this channel yourself. You're going to recognize this, where you're kind of an observer, right? You're an observer. You're back just watching the play. Not that you're not living, right? You're not involved with your life, but you're not like batted around reacting to your life is basically what I'm trying to say. And the 33, the shadow of the 33 is forgetting, right? So every one of these numbers has a shadow gift in the city. So you got the shadow of discord with the shadow of forgetting. So this is forgetting that you're a spiritual being, having human experiences and getting lost in and reacting to, like most people have forgotten who they are. It's really an identity problem, right? It's amnesia. So, and it's mindfulness and revelation. Those are the gift and city of the 33. So the 13, what's the 13 all about? It's about listening. It's about listening. So remember I talked about this before, these channels, the 31-7 there, the 1-8, and the 33-13. These are all leadership channels. I actually have the 1-8 myself. That's the channel of the creative role model. It's very individual. Well, the 31-7, that's all about the future. And then the 33-13 is all about the past, and the 1-8 is about the now, right? The eternal now. So the 13 is about the past. It's about our past. So the 13 and the 7 are programming partners, 13-7. So they're like little twins. They hold hands, right? Each one has another one, a little twin. So the 7 wants to go forward into the future in terms of leadership. And then the 13 is hold up. We got some learning to do. We got to reflect. We have to retreat. 33, we got to retreat, give ourselves time and reflect on the past and learn from the past before we move forward, right? So with this discord, it's really about listening, right? It's the gate of listening. It's the gate of the listener. And so the fear, everyone has every gate, shadow, gene key has a fear. And the fear is I can't escape my past, right? I can't escape my past. And this keeps me pessimistic about life, right? Because why am I pessimistic? Because I'm not learning. I'm not learning from the past. Right? I'm getting caught up in the same self-destructive patterns over and over and over again. I'm dating and getting in relationships with the same person over and over and over and over like a broken record. Yes, they may have a different name and a different body, right? Maybe they speak a different language, but the frequency is the same. The lesson is the same because I just posted these. I love these memes because you can communicate so much in an image, right? So this is totally the 13 shadow of discord, when the universe keeps circulating the same lessons over and over again, right? So you can learn the deeper truths of each time. Yeah. And I'm not prideful to say that I have not been here, right? I have been here for sure, right? Not getting the lesson. Even projectors have to admit, right? That sometimes we don't get the lesson. We don't get the lesson. It keeps happening over and over again. So if that's coming out of your mouth, why does this keep happening to me? What am I doing wrong? Well, you're in the shadow, right? You're in the shadow. And that's the first step to like recognize, oh my God, I'm in the same self-destructive pattern. It's time for me to reflect. It's not time for me to like break up with somebody, burn a bridge, and then run off to the next person. That's not learning from your past. Learning from your past is like, you know what? I need to air out. Right? I need to take some time to myself to reflect on this experience so I don't keep repeating it, right? So that I don't get pessimistic about life. So let's go into the shadow. And you know Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings, he represents the ego in my world, or the not self. So it just gives the not self and ego a form. Helps your mind, right, to discern. This is another gift of this 13. Discern what's me, what's my intuition, what's my soul, and then what's this alien voice in my head that's not me. That's the ego, right? So this is the voice in the head that we believe is us, right? It's been with us since we were children. It sounds like us. It's so familiar. It's right there. It's the first voice that you hear in your head. This is the thinker, right? This is the ego. So basically, let's go through the shadow, because this is how you learn, right? With compare and contrast. That's how our mind works, is comparing this and that, right? Compare and contrast. So that you know when these types of thoughts come up in your head, oh, this is the shadow. I'm in the shadow of discord, right? So don't learn from the past. Carry wounds forward into the present. So you're saying, well, okay, that wound that I dated that same person for 20 years, but it came in 5 different bodies. Well, it goes even further back than that, right? So remember, the child in us never grows up. We're evolving through the emotional body, right? We're evolving through the emotional body now. And the emotional body... Let me get my images here. The emotional body. Okay, here we go. I feel like a broken record, but I feel like there's always new people coming on the channel. So bear with me here, the people that already know. And it's good to hear it again and again and again and again. Japa, right? Yoga teaching japa. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Until you don't even have to think. It just comes up in your head. So we're evolving from the physical awareness that we're just this body, our 5 senses, right? And we've evolved into the mental awareness. Awareness is how we experience life, right? Through our mind. We've taken that as far as it can go now. And now we're moving into this new awareness system called spirit awareness, which is coming through a solar plexus mutation, right? 2027, we're really going to see it. We're feeling the buildup of this energy. But first, this emotional body, this is the emotional awareness, has to get purified, right? Has to get purified. So the 13 is actually connected to the 30, and that's the ring of the whirlwind, it's called. And this is all about purifying your emotional body, right? So what is the emotional body? It's the 0 to 7 years old cycle, right? This is when our emotional body got started to get developed, 0 to 7. And then we went to the mental, 8 to 14, and then 14 to 21 is the physical. So the pathway of awareness that we're moving down for the great age of Aquarius is back to frequency, right? This is spirit awareness. This is unconditional love, right? So yeah, we know the physical. Everybody knows the physical. We have that awareness. Yeah, the mind. People are getting more in touch with their mind. The emotional, not so much. But that's being really stirred and provoked right now to get to this frequency. It's to get to frequency, to get to unconditional love. So this is the work that we have to do. So these old wounds, right? These are the wounds that we carry into the present right here, right? The 0 to 7 years old. So it's like, oh yeah, I've been dating that person that cheats on me and betrays me, and I always find some secret that he's had, right? That he kept from me. This keeps happening over and over and over again. Well, you got to go back to 0 to 7 years old, and you don't need the story. You just need to feel it, what it felt like as a child when you were betrayed by a parent, right? When you were hurt and abandoned by a parent. Right? Whatever it is, you just feel it and then you stop creating. So this is about taking time and doing the inner work. That's the best use of your time right now, because that's how you're going to create real change, not through the mind, right? We're surpassing this now, right? It's time to be feeling your way through life. That's your intelligence. And right now, we don't know. We don't have emotional intelligence. As a humanity, we've taken the mental, the mind, we're PhD. We got the masters, the PhD, we got it all as a humanity in terms of the mind. With the emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, we're toddlers, if that. We're toddlers as a humanity. We have no idea what this is about. So of course you've got people, influencers out in the world that poo-poo the emotions. Oh, that's weak. You're so emotional, right? Use your logic, because they're holding on to this old awareness system. And it's dropping. It's dropping away. This is a dangerous place. We're going to see more and more mental health issues, and we're already starting to see it. People identified with their minds, identified with worm tongue, right? That's all going. So now it's, if you leave with any one message, it's this: to be best friends with your emotions, right? Do this work, purify that 0 to 7 years old, right? And the 3 primary emotions, remember, fear, anger, grief. Those are the 3. And it's a layer cake, right? Usually people are more attached to their anger. That's the one they feel most comfortable in, or depression. Depression is anger turned inward. Or fear. Some people are addicted to fear too. Grief is the end game. You want to get to the grief. That's the grief. That's the heart opening. That's the sobbing, the ugly cry. And then you experience this expanded state of awareness, right? You get to the other side, right? To spirit awareness. This is the evolutionary process that we're in right now. So this 13 definitely connects to this work that we're doing right now. And Saturn is in it, right? Saturn's in it right now, but it's retrograde. So it's moving us into the future. In this way, you're in the present, you're in reality. Otherwise, that's why people don't want to be, if they stop, because this is about retreating and reflecting and being quiet with yourself so you can listen. It's the gate of the listener. So you can listen to yourself. Why don't people want to do that? Like, what's the big deal? Well, they've got to feel. They have to feel when they stop and turn off all the social media, their computer, their phone off, all the distractions, and sit with themselves. Then they actually feel what's going on, what's been driving them. And it's a lot of emotions are there that people don't want to deal with. That's why solitary confinement in prison is such a terrifying thing for humans, because you're face to face with what's going on inside you emotionally, and face to face with this ego, right? Who's filled with self-hatred, like hatred towards you, right? This ego. Even if it's inflating you. Underneath it all, like even the narcissists are the biggest bowls of quivering jello you'll ever meet in terms of insecurity, right? It's built on insecurity, this ego. So hearing and listening, those are 2 different things. This is what this Saturn is teaching us here. Like, what is hearing versus listening? Well, hearing is only surface. I'm just hearing the words. What the word is, I'm translating it into what to a meaning, and this is how I communicate, right? Very surface level. That's what hearing is. And it's influenced by your emotional state. So whatever emotional state you're in, that's how you're going to interpret. He's going to interpret this for you, right? So if you're triggered, emotionally triggered, which most people get emotionally triggered now, that's just part of our healing, then this is going to influence how you perceive that other person. This is all about relationships, this 13. So if you're triggered, and what does the trigger mean? It means this has gotten triggered. That 0 to 7-year-old has gotten triggered emotionally. It's emotional memory. There's no story. There's no logical reason, like don't go there. That's all the mind. It's all the memory is emotional, right? So the fear comes up, whatever that fear is that was stuck in your emotional body. Well, you're going to perceive that other person, right? Because there it is, the ego, right? The fear is coming up. The ego is right on there. The ego doesn't want you to go past this surface level of hearing. And then you're listening to him. That's what hearing is. I'm listening to this ego. I'm not listening to my deeper self. I'm not listening to my intuition. I'm listening to this, right? This ego, this alien, this non-self that's not you, right? And then this is how you perceive that other person. We see this out in the world, right? With the mudslinging back and forth. You're a xenophobe, you're a racist, you're a misogynist. They're just like, there's nothing behind it. It's all emotional reaction towards one another, right? So, and you'll notice this. Like I notice this even with my own perception of people. That's why I don't get attached to anyone, because it depends on what mood I'm in. Like there's people in my life that I know I love dearly, right? I love them. I know that in my heart. But sometimes this ego gets in there and makes up a bunch of stories about them. And it's the ones that you love the most that this ego can get in, right? And influences your perception and wants to tell you lies about that person, because the ego doesn't want love. Because what happens when love comes together is the ego dissolves, right? The ego can't live in this state of love. It's a higher frequency. Right? So you don't want to be listening to that, especially with people that you like care for and love deeply in your life, is to, okay, that's just my mind and my ego. I'm not going to attach to those thoughts. I'm just being influenced because stuff's coming up to be cleared, right? So this is the hearing. This is the hearing. Hearing is hearing him. So what's listening? And this keeps you in the same, right? The same loop over and over and over and over again. So when you do meet somebody that's like, because the divine's delivering us, it's the relationship here. Divine is delivering us people that are going to help us, right? That help us and guide us and support us, our allies. And that's coming closer because love is there. Love is there, right? That ego is going to start telling you lies because the fear comes up. Because what's coming up are these old wounds from childhood, when you had an open heart, when you were just love. You haven't been imprinted yet. Well, that's going to trigger that, right? And there's the ego telling you lies about that person, right? That person is manipulative. That person is this, right? That person's lying to you. That person has an ulterior motive. And then it's telling you really good things about the repeating pattern, right? The repeating pattern person. What I'm saying is we need to go deeper, right? We need to go deeper. We can't be surface dwellers anymore, right? That's not working for us. So this keeps you in the same loop of mistakes. The shadow is I pretend to listen. I'm nodding my head. Have you ever talked to people like that? They're nodding their head and they're clearly not there. They're not present because you can't feel them, right? They're in their head thinking about tomorrow or thinking about what they have to do or yeah, you can tell they're just not there, right? You look into their eyes, they're not there. They're not there. Or the other part of the shadow of discord is I agree or disagree with no matter what that person says. Not listening, not really listening to that person. Let others walk all over you, right? Or you have a deep bitterness towards others and you lash out in anger, especially if they're not seeing it the ego's way, right? That's discord too. So you can see how this really affects our communication, doesn't it, right? This shadow. So this is the hearing, this is not listening, and it's forgetting who you are, right? It's forgetting who you are. So let's go to the gift. Where did I put it? Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay. There's another thing. There's an example right there. Another teaching opportunity that come all the time for me. Is if you're in the shadow of discord and you're in that state, like me, like I was just looking for something and I could feel my mind like you forgot to download this and this and that, and then you don't listen, right? That's hearing. You listen to a deeper self and it's like, no, it's there, right? It's there. So this is when you're smarter. You don't keep making the same mistakes. So if you get into that state of hearing in the ego and reacting, right? It just totally, the volume is up on the ego and the volume's really, really down on your intuition, right? And you have to remember that your intuition is there to guide you. You can count on it 100%. So let's look at empathy. This is listening. Empathy is listening, right? So this is when you're truly listening, not with the two ears, with your whole being you're listening, right? So you see the pattern, right? You see life's the pattern, you're able to see the pattern. And you see life symbolically. This is really important to see your life symbolically. Because this 13 is all about memory. It's all about our memory, how we remember. So our memory goes beyond just this lifetime, right? Our memory can go into past lives. Our memory is also tuned into our ancestors, but our memory is connected to the human memory, like all our memories as a humanity, because we're all connected, right? That if you look at your life symbolically, like say, okay, I'm in the same frequency that I've been in, but I'm in 5 different bodies, 5 different names. Well, you can't personalize that person. Well, it's just that person that betrayed me. It's just that person that cheated on me, that lied to me, that kept secrets, right? That wouldn't tell me the truth, that gaslit me and this and that. You can't personalize it. You've got to look at it symbolically. Right? You've got to look at it as an energy, right? So it's really like elevating your point of view in a way, right? Like reflecting back on your life. Like look at your life that way. Don't get caught up in the person, right? It's just a frequency that you're transmuting in this lifetime that's probably followed you for lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, and the same with your ancestors. Oh, I got oppressed, right? He symbolizes oppression for me, right? Bullying, and I gave my power over to him. And go deeper and deeper. Why did I give my power over him? Well, the promise of security, that I would be safe, right? And then you follow it back. It's like, oh, my mother did that. My grandmother did that. Like this is reflecting, like looking at things symbolically. And then when you see that pattern coming up again, oh, here's my oppression, the frequency of oppression coming again, but I've transmuted it. I'm not going to give my power over. I'm not going to bow my head down to a person anymore, right? I'm clearing this karma. So think of that, right? Since June 4th, what you've been working on. And it's going to be something about your relationships, especially your relationship to your own self and your relationship to your own divinity, right? That's got to be cleared away for this new age. So you're able to listen beyond the words, beneath the words, right? So you can listen to somebody, right? Don't be in the surface of the getting caught up in the nice sounding flowery words. I was watching this interview with this person with academia, like they're so good at manipulating language, right? And it's all about oppressing, like oppressing another person. I'm superior to you because I know a big word that I know that you don't know the meaning of, right? You can barely find it in the dictionary. I'm going to use it, right? And just like what I talked about before, the big word salad, I'm going to throw all these big words in there with at least 3 syllables. And that ego is going to say, oh, that person is smart, right? They know these words that I don't know the meaning of. They're an expert of me. I'm going to give my power over to them, right? But you got this interview that I watched was great. And the woman said back to him, it's like, you just said a bunch of big words that mean nothing. Like, what are you trying to say? Communicate what you're trying to say, because that's the true purpose of communication, is so that you're understood, right? So it's about listening beneath the words. So the person with the head on the stick with all the big sounding words, listen to the frequency. That's the truth. The capital T truth is listen to the frequency that's behind the words. So you don't worry about, I gotta take all these courses, I got to get that person a lie detector and, to find out what the truth is. The truth is a frequency. You're going to feel it inside you. I say that all the time. So you're listening to the frequency. That's listening. It's taking that whole person in, not just their words, their frequency. And you're listening. That's what listening is, right? Listen to the frequency beneath the words. And this means being in an expanded state of self. When you're with the ego, this is very limited, right? The ego is such a limited point of view. It's very limited. It's like you're crippled, it's like you're this 747 Concorde jet, right? And then you're with the ego and you're like you think you're a little Pinto, right? Like not even a Pinto, right? Like maybe like a Fred Flintstone car, right? You don't even have a motor. You need your feet. That's who you think you are, but you're actually a Concorde jet. You're just limited, right? So that you have to be in this expanded state of awareness to be able to truly, truly listen. And there's the power of listening. There's, I think he's in Brazil. Don't quote me on that. But that's all he does is listen. He's like this powerful healer. So people come in to his field and talk a little bit. This healer says nothing. It's nothing, not a word, right? Maybe goodbye, right? This is the power of, and the people are healed, the miraculously healed, because he's listening. He's listening to that other person, and it's so healing to be listened to. That's why you got these adults out in the world, and they're insatiable for attention. You know what I mean? Like they talk, and there's no room for anybody to say anything else. Well, their 3-year-old self was never listened to, like truly listened to by their caregiver, right? So listening is to, you don't need to be up in the head, right? What's my rebuttal and what am I going to say next and how am I going to respond to this? And like that's hearing, right? Do you see, like you're limited, like no information's getting in. But when you're listening, you're not in there. You're just listening. And to trust that, because the ego will say, well, what are you going to say? You're going to look like an idiot. Because, right? Like you have nothing to say or respond to that person. You'll respond naturally. It will be more authentic because you're present, right? You're present. To trust the words will come, right? So this, of course, gives you empathy. So sympathy is a word that means I can imagine what it feels like to go through what you went through, right? You went through this horrible experience. I can imagine what it would feel like, right? That's sympathy. It's imagining. Well, empathy is you actually feel what that person feels like. That's what true empathy is. And this is what's coming for the solar plexus mutation. Empathy, like true empathy, that will actually be able to feel each other And I talk about this all the time. It's going to be talk about karma. Karma will be instant. We won't have to be waiting this next lifetime to pay off our karma from this lifetime. It will be immediate, right? With the solar plexus mutation, because it's unity consciousness. So we'll have that ability to be empathetic towards another person, which means like, okay, you're in your ego and reacting and lashing out at somebody, like being very unkind and inconsiderate, not in your heart, right? Well, right away, you're going to feel that person and how they feel, like hurt or their heart was broken by your words, right? You're going to feel that immediately. That's what empathy is. And of course, you're going to correct. It's like, I don't want to feel that again. That feels horrible, right? And the old way is hearing and then maybe reflecting or maybe not reflecting and then getting the karma, right? Down the road, either this lifetime or next lifetime through your lessons. Okay. This is interesting too, is you have access with this gift of empathy to life's codes, so our ancestral memories. You're able to unlock all human experiences. This is the 1 minute mile we hear about, you know? Before that person broke, I forget who it is, I'm not good with details, but you can Google this, that he reached the 1 minute mile, he finally, the 1 minute mile. Before that, no human was able to do that. Well, after he did that, then there were tons more people that were able to do it. And it's like, well, why then? Well, because we share this memory, right? One human breaks the morphogenic field, and then this creates a path for other people, right? To follow that pathway. It's doable then, right? So this is getting in touch with all of our human experiences, that we have access to that. Not to mention lifetimes, like our past lives. Have you ever noticed that some people are, or maybe yourself, you've noticed that you're really good at something, and it's like, I don't know where this came from. I didn't really have to work for it. I was a natural. This is beyond the second line profile stuff that I'm talking about. Or you see kids, like I see some, like this one kid was barely out of diapers and he's on his skateboard and he's like a pro. You should have seen him moving around at the park, right? Well, where's that coming from? It's coming from his past life, bringing in these gifts, these abilities, right? Skills automatically with them from past lives. So you have access to that too, right? Your past life gifts, things that you've been working on in your past lives. Not only that, though, because we've gone through, it's like 8.4 million lifetimes to get to an awakened human being, or the potential to be an awakened human being. That's a lot of lifetimes. But they go back to rock, mineral, animal. So we even have, this is the shaman path, right? Is that we can tap into an animal, the power animal, because we've had a lifetime, say, as a Black Panther, right? So we can tap into these memories, right? But it takes reflection. It takes retreat, right? It takes being alone and facing yourself, right? So feeling inside another person. Of course, this makes you more optimistic because you're going to break the pattern, right? It's like, I'm not stuck. I'm not fearing my past. I can transcend my past, right? But first and foremost, you've got to recognize I'm in a pattern from my past and I'm ready to clear it, right? I'm ready to clear it. Yeah. Okay. What else did I want to say about that? I did a reading too, as well. Yeah. Okay. I did a live stream read before we got on. I don't know why that's there. Just a second. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this is the quick tarot read that I did before I hopped on. just to give us a little bit more direction. And it totally fits. I love synchronicity. It totally fits with the shadow pattern. I have my water. This is where we're headed. Somebody just said, wow, I don't know what they're talking about, but these cities, these divine gifts, they're ours to tap into, right? We don't know our power as a humanity yet, right? All these cities, these divine gifts are going to start to be released, right? And they'll just become the norm. It will be that 1 minute mile when those humans really start coming online, right? Their power and claiming their power. Okay. So here's the reading. I'm going to get my cards out here because I like to hold them. So where we're at is the Eight of Pentacles. So we'll put it in the context of Saturn and what you've been working on. And listening, right? Listening to yourself. That's what you need to listen to first, is yourself. And knowing what that voice of your soul is, discerning it, because discernment is the gift of the 13, and empathy, discerning that voice of the ego that's alien to you, right? With your true voice, the voice of your soul. Okay, so the Eight of Pentacles, right there, the Eight of Pentacles. This is all about working. So you've been working. Maybe you don't realize what you've been working on. Maybe you've just been doing your work at sleep at night. You're working though. The Eight of Pentacles is working. Saturn requires work and discipline. There's no way around it. But the great thing about it is it's yours. It wasn't given to you, right? That you made the effort. You made your healing, your shadow work, your inner child work, whatever you're working on, a priority, right? And Saturn always rewards you. So the other thing to remember too during this retrograde period, you could have been also gifted, right? Gifted with things. I was gifted with things during this retrograde period for the good work that you've done, right? For your discipline. Okay, so the Eight of Pentacles is about working. This is where we are now. It's about mastery, it's about learning, and it's about growing. So the Eight of Pentacles is about showing up every day and doing your work. It's being persistent, consistent, right? And this is what mastery is. You keep every day, you show up. Every day you show up. You don't give up, right? You commit every single day. So that's the Eight of Pentacles. And then what not to focus on is the devil. The devil card. Everybody's scared of the devil. And the devil in the tarot deck, there's nothing to get afraid of. This is the ego, right? This is totally the ego. If anything represents the devil, it's the ego. So this is about our attachments. So we're working, right? We're showing up. We're persistent. We know what we're getting clear information where we're supposed to be going, what our duty is, what our obligations are, our responsibilities, our soul contract, right? People forget that. There's that shadow word, forget that they're here on this planet for a reason, not to just survive and pay bills and watch Netflix and get a little bit of pleasure here and there. You're here for a deeper reason. You're here for a purpose. And now, you know, all of us are here, and I say this, I think I can say this with authority, is to shift this paradigm, this Piscean age paradigm, because we're a bridge people, right? I wasn't born in the Aquarian age. I was born in the Piscean age, but I have a consciousness that's connected to the future, the Aquarian age. So all of you are that too. So we have to remember why we're here. And it's not this heavy thing, you know? It's going to bring joy. Soul purpose always brings joy. So this is what not to focus on. Keep your focus off of this. This is ego. Not listening to the ego. Not hearing the ego. Right? Going deeper into the deeper voice. right? That's far beyond the ego. This is about addictions too. It can be addictions, so not getting to addictions. Attachments, this is codependency, and this is what we're letting go of this, I talked about before with the cross of planning, that we're leaving behind from 1615 to 2027. This fosters codependency, right? So this is this card, our attachment to some external authority, right? Could be little g, all these little g institutions actually that I put down here. All these are, this is codependency. All these institutions are going down like the Titanic. We're watching it. We're watching it. And there's people out there that are trying to hold on to the status quo, right? So remember the birth of the baby, the pushing muscles, that's Uranus. It's time to liberate now, right? And the holding muscles are these institutions and people wanting to hold on to the old ways. And it's like, no, this has to go, right? The holding muscles have to go. The status quo has to give out eventually when we're strong enough to hold this new state of consciousness, right, for the Aquarian age. So this is the devil energy, right? And which means attachment, ego attachment. Like I need these institutions else I won't survive. And this goes to our personal relationships too, right? So religion, all the little G's, education, medical, financial, legal, all these institutions are going down. So don't hold on to them. And you may say, Michael's crazy, right? They always say that with truth tellers. This is prophecy, right? We've been warned about this time. I know it in my bones that's all true. We're seeing it. Right? All these, and the institutions are letting themselves be known. No, we're not. We're here to indoctrinate you. We're here to keep you codependent on us. We don't want free humans on this planet, right? All this is going down. So it's a time to be in the now, the eternal now, and allow the creativity, allow your intuition to come through. Because this is what soul purpose is, right? Something new for the Aquarian age when we create this new earth. All these are being revamped, all these institutions. It's our lesson, it's been learned. This is a Saturnian lesson. It's been learned and now we're off to something new, right? Something new. And that's what we're seeing. And a lot of people out there with big voices and big platforms are trying to hold on to these, pointing out the flaws of what's wrong. It's like watching the Titanic going down, like sinking. And, oh, that's wrong and this wrong. What good is that? That's what I say. It's like as a projector, that's a waste of your energy. Let's shift our focus on these lifeboats over here, over to Big G. Let Big G guide us, right? Not religious Big G, but Big G inside of us, the divine inside of us, and let that guide us to this new earth, right? This new earth, and how are we going to create this new earth? What's our educational system going to be like? How are we going to educate children? How is that going to change, right? Like asking questions like that instead of blaming the system that's dying. It's dying. Okay, so don't be focusing on this. So this is also about materialism too, thinking that's going to keep you safe. Having a bunch of pieces of paper in your bank account is going to keep you safe and secure. All the things that the ego is telling you, right? Just to let this go. This is toxic energy. It's fear. It's fear-based. You just let that go. And then underneath it all, with no surprise, this is for us, right? This reading is for us, is the Five of Pentacles. More Pentacles. This is all about money, right? So this is what to watch out for. And of course, the ego I talk about all the time. That's his trump card. He comes out with money. Well, how are you going to make money? How are you going to survive? How are you going to pay your bills, right? And it's also isolation. It's poverty. It's lack. It's feeling lost. It's worry. So the traditional image of this Five of Pentacles, there's the church. And those two figures are out. This woman and then a man with a crutch. They're outside. outside of the church. But what they don't realize, and like in this picture too, that there's light there. This means there's help. There's help. So it's about letting go of your pride, right? This devil energy doesn't want you asking for help. The devil energy wants you isolated, right? Wants you with the bottle of alcohol, wants you with the drugs, wants you with whatever your addictions are, wants you in shame. You're the only one that feels this way, right? It's only you. Everybody else is fine. You're broken. There's something wrong with you. Wants you in that shame, right? That energy of shame. It wants you to isolate it in the dark, basically in the dark. And the Five of Pentacles is saying, no, there's help. There's help for you. There's people around you, but you can't be hearing. This is hearing, right? You want to be listening to your deeper self. The deeper self is what loves you. The ego does not love you. It will pretend it loves you, but it does not love you. It wants to annihilate you, right? Your higher self is what truly, truly loves you. And this is what's going to guide you, right? Not the ego, not the ego. So you've got to be out of this energy, right? And then you're going to see the way out. With the Five of Pentacles, that's what it's saying. Like there is a way out. There's a way through every block. That's one of the sutras for the Aquarian age. There's a way through every block and it will come through. And of course, you know, the divine didn't send you down here to like be in poverty and scraping and barely surviving. I doubt that. Wants you there. But if you're in this state, it means you got to change. That's all. That's all it means is you have to change. We have to embrace change during this time. There's no way. We're changing so fast. The world is changing so fast. We have to adapt. And that means letting go, right? Letting go, letting go, letting go of the past. So this is what we have to watch out for, right? You don't want this taking you out. Remember the last reading was all about the money trap, right? Same thing. Yeah. Okay. And then the spiritual guidance here is the world. So this is the last of the major arcana. Major arcana cards like the devil and the world, it's major energy, right? It's like an external energy. So this is letting something complete, right? Especially with the Saturn thing. Whatever cycle that you've been in, it's coming to a completion, right? And so it goes back to 21, back to the Fool, right? A brand new beginning. So it's an achievement. So something's been achieved during this time for you. You've learned whatever lesson you were in, right? You've learned it. You're getting the diploma, right? On October 22nd, right? Saturn is, here's your diploma. You did good, right? Now you're ready for the next level, right? You're ready for more responsibility. You're ready for more students. You're ready for more clients, whatever it is, right? Whatever you're doing, the sole purpose always involves other people, serving humanity, right? It's like more is coming for you. You've shown yourself that you're strong and you're committed. So that's positive. And see how the devil card, right? You don't want to be in this Five of Pentacles devil energy. You want to be in the completion and celebrating. Remember who you are. It's about remembering who you are and why you're on the planet. You're a spiritual being having human experiences. And then under the deck is the Ten of Wands, right? So this is this feeling of hard work, extra responsibility. You may have been feeling this since June 4th, right? Burdened, whatever your burdens are, it's time to drop them. 10s are all about completion. 21's major completion. So this is saying to drop this, right? This feeling overwhelmed, right? To drop the traditional deck is the 10 big ones on his back, right? He's almost there. It's like you're almost there, basically. And then this is going to go, the 10 of Wands. So let's look at what the ego is telling you. This is the challenge. The challenge is know it all. Right? I know it all. So this fits in with the Five of Pentacles. I don't need anybody's help, right? I can do this all on my own. There's no lone wolves in the Aquarian age. It's not about the lone wolf anymore. It's not the celebration of the being the independent ego. I did it my way, right? This is everything's changing. This is what we have to adapt to, all this change. So this is the ego saying, you know everything, right? Whispering in your ear. You know, you know that, you tried that, right? That person knows nothing, right? I know it all. This is hearing. You're hearing him and you're not listening to the deeper self, right? And this is the refusal, an absolute refusal coming from pride. That's the ego's pride of, I'm not going to listen to any help or support. I'm not going to open my mind up, right? So there's no room to receive when you got this in your head. Ego takes up a lot of space when you attach to it. When you're in this devil energy, that's attachment to the ego, right? There's no space for intuitive guidance, right? So you want to let this go, that you don't know it all. You don't know it all. Tell yourself that. I don't know. Whoever that person is, it could be a beggar on the street. I'm going to listen to that person because God works through everybody. The divine works through everybody, right? To try to reach you with support or help. Yeah. So that's the cards for this Saturn cycle. So it looks good, right? To celebrate that this cycle is coming to an end this week, and the burdens are going to start to drop, right? You've proved yourself to the divine. Okay. Okay, so let me look at some comments and then we'll go into the individual readings. And it's exactly 1 hour. Yeah. Listening to the frequency rather than the word. I do that with, you can use this as a positive too. Like sometimes I'll just listen to Eckhart Tolle. You know Eckhart Tolle, Power Now? Power Now. And I'm not really following what he's saying. Right? And I'm not dissing him. It's like, I think he's a wonderful teacher. But I'll tap into his frequency. And that's so calming for me, just to tap into the frequency, right? And it gives my mind a break. Not even to follow the mind. It's like a jacuzzi for the mind to listen to him. Okay, let's go for look at some comments here. So Satnam Gretchen, you're a projector. I didn't know that. Amy, mental projector, great. Jen, of course, emotional generator, Vancouver Island. Generator, Adi Shakti. Capricorn. Yeah, Milton, Satnam, Shaima, Manifestor, great. Paige, 62MG from Atlanta. Atoya, Splenic Projector. Corliss, Manifestor. Claire from South America, Generator. Okay, and Reflector, awesome. Chana. Yeah. Adi Shakti. I have difficulty reconciling the proliferation of toxins, etc., environmental degradation, and the purification of the sensory realm and the emotions. How to remain in that state. Well, one thing is to not give your power over to it, you know. Yes, it's real and it's something that we have to deal with, and it's like it's the negative forces. I mean, I keep saying this, is like to keep ourselves healthy, right? And this is to listen to your deeper self and your intuition. And my recorded readings tell you the foods and everything, right? This is really valuable information if you haven't got, I think most people have gotten their readings already. But yeah, do not give your power over to that. And just, that's what I would say, is to listen to your deeper self, like listen to your higher self and your intuition. and we'll let you know what's healthy or not. Like, I think I mentioned this before. I had a little rash, and I was here. I mentioned it in a live stream before, and I didn't know what is this? And I tried all the different foods and changing my diet and this and that. And then after sadhana one day, because it was really bugging me, like, what's this about? My intuition bubbled up and said, you need to take nascent, not just iodine, nascent iodine. So I did that, right? And this disappeared within like 3 days. The rash disappeared after taking nascent iodine. And it's really good for radiation too. I'm not saying this is one size fits all, like that it's for you too, but it's like to just listen to your intuition. My intuition has always guided me. Enough, like 2010, you're done with the gluten. I got the big lesson about gluten, right? It all started then, and it's been little by little things being taken away and things introduced, right? So I would say trust your higher self, yeah, with that. And not to give it power. Like, don't let something external to have power over you. Great. Shauna said she's doing some lineage work. That's great. And karmic relationships. Because, I mean, all the institutions that are going down, marriage is in there too. And that's all relationships. The relationship paradigm has to shift and change. That's what the twin flame path is all about too, is changing those old relationship paradigms, They've got to change. Everything's got to shift, and we're part of that, whatever your piece is that you're doing. Larissa, 1-3 projector, another one, Cancer. Ace of Spades. Oh, you've got your card. I forget what I am. I can't remember what I am. I know what you're talking about. I like that system. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be honest, the more I see, the more I realize it has to go. It's so unhealthy now. Yeah. Massachusetts, no. Jeanette Matisse, you got to get your type. Remember, there's a link in the information box. It may not be there now, but in my other video it is. Projector, another projector. Another projector, Lisa Milton, generator. Corliss, a great explanation of Eckhart. Because Eckhart, when he's speaking, you can tell when somebody is present, right? He's in the space. Not a lot of teachers are, to be honest, the popular ones. But they're in this space, and you always know what well they're drinking from, right? Are they drinking from this well? This is spiritual ego too. You can feel it. They're in their spiritual ego. I'm not dissing any of them. I'm just empowering you to know the difference. But then if they're in this space, they're drinking from that well, you can feel it, right? You immediately feel calm. Your heart starts to open, right? You start to relax. Jacuzzi for the mind. Teresa, manifesting generator. Okay. And then Kevin. Great. Okay, so let's go to the types. We'll do some readings for the types. Okay, we'll start with the generators. The generators. And first we'll zip down here. Okay. Also love this meme that I posted too and commented on my Instagram. I really really pray for the day that most of humanity gets this. Because right now, we're projecting shadows, group shadows, individual shadows, family shadows, religious shadows, all on each other, right? So this is my self-awareness. That's like greater self. This is the witness, the witnessing, the witnesser, the observer, watching me, you, right? Getting mad at people for the shit that you also do, or I also do. But you have to have a sense of humor about it, I find, you know? Especially when you catch yourself, right? When you catch yourself. When you remember, right? You remember that you're this greater self-awareness, and watching you in the movie getting mad at people for doing the same things you're doing. And it's funny to watch it. It's so obvious when you really start doing shadow work, how much projection is out there, you know? On mainstream news, right? You can really see this. Why is this person doing this? They're judging me and they're this. Well, you look at what you're doing. You're judging other people. You're excluding other people and complaining you're getting excluded, because it's a boomerang. Whatever you put out will come back to you, you know? So shadow work. There's another one. If you can't do inner child work, start with shadow work, right? Just start doing that. Take responsibility for your shadow. So these are the types, right? So there's 5 types, but manifesting generators and generators are in this umbrella here, right? So they open an enveloping aura. There's another picture of the generators and the MGs, right? So the auras are different, how you navigate through time and space, right? So the generators, we'll see. So their listening is going to happen, because now we're totally in human design energy now, is through their sacral, right? So your sacral will let you know what's correct for you and what's not correct for you. So it's about trusting your form. It's about trusting your energy, not your mind. And the generators have to deal with out of all the types, the mind, they really need to be, like their mind is on them. This non-self is on them. Like they're very influenced by their conditioned mind, generators. But it's really easy. Stop listening to this. Start listening to your sacral. And that's this down here. You see that? Right? That's your sacral. That's the life force energy. Yeah. And so 70%. So 35% are generators, but 70% are in the generator family. So let's see what we got for the generators and listening, and for Saturn. And so when they're operating correctly, the generators, they feel fulfilled, right? They feel satisfied, especially with the work they're doing. Right? The generators love to work. They love to work at things that they love to do. And so when they're doing things that they don't love to do, work that they don't love to do just to pay the bills, because they're in that devil energy and fear, right? Then they're going to feel frustrated. They're going to feel frustrated. They're going to feel like a slave, right? That's the history of the generators. They were the slaves. So you want to go to bed as a generator feeling exhausted, like a really good kind of exhaustion. I really feel really good about how I spent my energy today. Okay, what do we got for the generators here? For this Saturn going direct. Saturn moving forward now for generators. So this may be a time where you're going to be switching jobs in the work that you do. You know? Okay. So you got the Queen of Swords, also called the Ice Queen. And the Queen of Swords is self-reliant. But let's look at the positive. I want to look at the positive here. This feels like a positive card. And this is about clear boundary setting for generators. Right? You have access to my energy because my navel said so. You do not have access to my energy because my navel said no. Right? This is how you have to start speaking. And it's going to make you fit. It's going to make you come across as the nice queen. Right? But you have to start valuing yourself, and this is what it means to love yourself. Right? Because everybody wants the generator energy. You're the types with MGs and generators have all the life force energy. So you want to have clear boundaries. Right? So if you're coming home and you're frustrated at a job that you can't stand and you're only keeping it because that ego is telling you that there's nothing else for you. There's nothing else coming for you to respond to. Right? You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel stuck in your life. That means you're not operating correctly. And it's really easy for generators to undo that. Right? To make the U-turn. Is their navel. Like, I'm jealous of you generators. I'm a projector. I got a different strategy. It's a little bit more complicated. But yours is like right then. Right? The yes or no. So that's what that card is saying, is start listening to your intuition and not the mind saying, you can't say that, right? Because one of our fears is what other people think of us. What will people think of me if I start talking like that? Like, yes, no is a complete sentence. No. No. It's hard for people. Okay, that's too many. Okay, what I'm seeing what the ego is telling you. What's the ego telling? The Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords can see through the BS too. And that's the listening, not the hearing, right? Not hearing your non-self. Okay, there we go. Okay. So the ego, we got that last time, and didn't I mention that in the reading? The money trap. The money trap. And then suppression. So suppression is about suppressing your energy. It's about, as a generator, that's suppressing your life force energy, generators. Not letting that flow. And you do that every time your navel is saying yes and your mind is saying no. And you're giving all your authority over to your mind, right? Or your navel saying no, mind is saying yes, navel saying yes, mind is saying no. And all around money, right? Around money. So remember that we're in a big spiritual test now, right? Around money. And this is when the ego can really get in there and talk you out of your sacral, right? Your sacral response, whatever it is, to whatever opportunity is coming to you right now. You know? Well, how are you going to pay for that? How are you going to pay your bills? Nobody will know, especially if you're responding to maybe becoming an entrepreneur, like really stepping forward and on a new business. Well, nobody's going to pay for that. This is all the BS that's coming from this ego non-self. You just drop into your sacral, right? And trust that. It's not going to lead you astray, right? It's what's correct for you. So this is about following your intuition, right? Your intuition through your sacral response. And then using that Queen of Swords energy to communicate that. You know? It's a leap of faith. We're all being tested now to make this leap of faith. But you've got this thing inside you, a compass, that's going to help you navigate. So the suppression, is blocking your sacral response. That's what I see. And maybe it's too big. That's what I say to people. Maybe it's, okay, Michael, that's too big of a leap for me. Well, you start making little baby steps with your response. right? In terms of foods to eat or what to do that day. Okay, I'm going to commit today for 24 hours. I'm going to follow my sacral. I'm not going to follow my mind and my ego. I'm going to listen to my sacral with a yes or no. I'm going to experiment. It's an experiment. It's not a belief system. It's an experiment. And then I'm going to see what happens, where it's going to lead me. Because this is what's the fear is with the generators, is where's that response going to take me? Is it going to lead me to homelessness and poverty? Right? Is it going to lead me to this 5 of Pentacles, being excluded from society, from community? How will I survive? All those ancient fears start to come up, right? Fear of survival. Fear of what will happen to me tomorrow. Fear of what other people will think of me, right? So this is what's happening with the generators have to watch. Getting tricked, right? With devil energy, it's all about money. Money, 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 money. And that's not a good place for you because you can get stuck, right? Oh, that job, your sacral saying, no, no, no to this job, like screaming at the top of its lungs, no, no. And you're not listening. You're listening to that ego. Well, you get trapped, right? It's like it's a golden cage, they call it, right? Oh, I get all this money for doing this thing that drains me, drains my life force energy as a generator, right? It's a golden cage. To watch this, right? There's nothing free. If it looks too good to be true, go to your sacral, right? So you have to trust that above all else. And then other things, well, my sacral's saying yes to this, but this doesn't pay very much. And it's about trusting because things start to unfold one step at a time for you generators, one level at a time, right? One level at a time. That more things come in, more money suddenly comes in. You're supported, right? So remember, we're being tested with this Saturn. Are you willing to really walk the talk, or are you weekend, or just a weekend? You know, I go on one weekend retreats, or I dilly-dally with human design and I read all about it, but I don't actually practice it, right? This is what Saturn wants to know. Are you ready to walk the talk? And then the gifts come in when you're walking the talk, right? When you're in integrity. This is what it means to be in integrity as a generator, right? That you're following your sacral response, right? And there you are, you're satisfied. That's where you want to be. You want to be in satisfaction, not frustration. So watch this, and generators can get trapped, right? Once you get hooked in to this new experience, and it's like, okay, I'm in this job. Well, sometimes you're going to be in it for 7 years. That's 7-year cycles. And then it's hard. It's really difficult for a generator to walk back and backpedal, right? And maybe they do backpedal. I'm not going to be in that job. Well, they get trapped in another job that's the same frequency. This is the not learning, right? That 13, not learning from the past, right? Repeating the cycles. So that's what I see. It's really about your work, right? With these cards, it's about your work, your new work. And start bringing some more of that Queen of Swords energy in. And it gets easier and easier when you start setting boundaries really clearly. Yeah. But it's about valuing yourself more, you know? Valuing your energy more than being liked, right? Trying to be liked by everybody. It's a fool's game, trying to be liked. Yeah. Right? And then the listening. Does that person really care about me? Right? Or are they just giving me words that I want to hear? And I'm going to listen more deeply. Because the ulterior motive is people want generator energy. Generators and manifesting generators, you're the only types that have that life force energy, right? And everybody wants it, right? You gotta really get that. And it's your job to protect your energy, right? Through your sacral response. Because don't you want that, generators? To feel fulfilled of what you've came down on this planet to do, the work that you've come down to do. So it's about watching the money, expressing what wants to be expressed, right? With the Queen of Swords, not suppressing it, right? And then setting boundaries. That's what I see here for the generators. And listening, not hearing. Listening deeply. Yeah. This is what it means. I mean, there's the New Age teachings. It's about trusting everybody and, don't go on the negative and don't be suspicious of people. And that's the New Age teaching, which has little bits of ego. It's your right to protect your energy. That's what it means to be a spiritual adult. To be a child is just to they really care and they would never lie to me, right, with their words. Right, all that stuff. It's like about listening deeply to the frequency. That's all. It's not about suspicion. It's about being an adult, taking care of yourself, taking care of your consciousness. Yeah. Anything else for that, for the generators? Yeah. That's it for the generators. We want the generators to wake up, and the manifesting generators too. And out of all the types, the manifesting generators and the generators, you have to know thyself. Know thyself. Because you're creating, right? The generators are creating the frequency that we're all living in on the planet here. Right? The life force energy. You're generating it, this life force energy. And we want to feel in that frequency of satisfaction. I want to be swimming in that. I don't want to be swimming in frustration. Right? I lived, both my parents were, my mother was a manifestor. My dad was a generator of this frustration energy. Everybody, I never got that as a kid. Why does everybody hate their job? Why don't they just do what they love to do? Right? I was looked at as insane. What do you mean? That's just how the world works, right? You're not supposed to love your job. Right? That's why they call it work. We want to change that paradigm. Right, for the new age of Aquarius. And the generators are going to help do that. Generators and manifesting generators with the work they do. They're going to love it. Okay, the manifesting generators have the open and enveloping aura as well. And they're kind of a hybrid of the manifestor and the generators. So the thing that I said about the generators, they can get trapped in a human experience, right? And so they have to be really wary of this, especially if they're saying their sacral saying no and their mind is saying yes. They can get trapped in that cycle. Well, the manifesting generator, the one caveat to them is if they fall for that, if they fall for the ego and the mind, and then they get into the experience, they have a little taste of it, they can backpedal. They can get out of it. They won't get trapped in it. But I'm not giving you permission, give yourself permission to do that, go against your sacral response. But just to know that you can back away. And the advice for the manifesting generators is because they move so fast, right? Manifesting generators move so fast and their mind is spinning a million miles an hour, that they can make mistakes, is to slow down. If you do anything, it's to slow down and make a list, like a to-do list. That will save you a lot of grief as an MG. Yeah. Okay, what do we got for the manifesting generators and listening? Saturn, telling them to listen to their deeper self, not their ego. What else about the MGs? MGs love to work. I have quite a few manifesting generators in my life. I get so zinged, hopped up on their energy as a projector. Projectors probably can relate to that, getting hopped up in an MG's energy. Okay. Oh. So they got the Five of Cups. Manifesting generators are sad these days. There's regret, there's disappointment, there's sadness. Let's see what the ego is saying. And we'll see what it is about. So remember, with any, like, we're evolving through the emotional body, manifesting generators, that to work with this is just to feel it. So stop, retreat, because it's the 1333 is to retreat. Give yourself some alone time. Oh. That's funny, that card just appeared out of nowhere, so I'm going to grab it too. Is the 17, the star. This is about healing. It's about healing. So this is an opportunity. This is what I see for the manifesting generators. There's an opportunity, but you have to let go of something first. A broken heart. There's healing and faith here. Because when you're holding on to this broken heart that just wants to move, that's all emotions are, energy and motion, that it just wants to move. That energy, there's no room. There's no room for the new to come in when you're holding on to the past like that. So feeling disappointed about something, regretful about something. Right? So the traditional is the 5 cups, and the man is like crying over the 3 cups. The 3 cups have spilled, but he doesn't see that there's 2 cups. There's 2 cups behind him that are still full. Yeah. And this is the thing with change, you know, is that there's loss. This is what we have to deal with as humans. There's loss. Okay. So you got the projection card. This is Shadow 101 right here. It's projecting. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little projector on that man's head and little devil, and he's projecting onto the screen the devil. Or the demon, whatever the projection is. It doesn't have to be a demon. So there could be some avoidance, manifesting generators, by projecting your something onto another person. That's keeping you away from this feeling of this broken heart, right? This disappointment and regret and sadness. That's, we'll take it back to the shadow, right? It's only, this is, right, projection is this, right? This is the ego. Just project onto that other person. So often what we do, manifesting generators, is we'll stay with anger, right? We'll stay with anger, right? Our favorite emotion. That's like anger or depression. And then we'll project it onto another person. But what it's doing is keeping you away from feeling this regret and disappointment, sadness, this energy that wants to move. Yeah. So whatever you're projecting onto another person or a situation, like, start to reflect, because that's this 13. Give yourself, like, slow down. Who were you so angry with, right? Maybe it's not just one person, it's a series of people. Who am I angry with? And bring it back to the self, right? Bring it back to the self. Why am I projecting this, right? So let's look at like disappointment and let's abandonment, right? Regret, disappointment, sadness. I feel like I'm tuned into the MG because I can feel my mind racing. My mouth is trying to keep up with my mind. Is say there's a deep disappointment, sadness, and we know where this goes back to, right? Goes back to the little one, the inner child. Right, the inner child, you can't see there, right? That inner child, right there. This is the energy that wants to move, right? This regret, sadness. So it could be something like your father. Maybe your father and your mother got a divorce when you were little, like 6 years old or something. You don't really remember it, but you feel it because you're in the frequency of your mother too. So she's imprinting you emotionally, right? And you're feeling this deep, deep sadness, right? Maybe your mother felt that. You're feeling that too. You don't have words to express it, what's going on. You don't have the mind yet, right? So fast forward to adulthood, and you keep repeating these patterns. This is the 13, repeating these patterns over and over and over again, where people will abandon you, right? Like especially a male abandons you, lets you down, doesn't keep their word, and it keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And here you are projecting the anger, because this is the ego, right? That person, they're so irresponsible. They didn't call. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. It's all about this, pointing the finger outward, right? But it's not getting to the root. This is the root, the 5 of Cups. That's what this is saying. So especially if you're angry, because that's the layer cake, anger, fear, grief. So this is an opportunity with manifesting generators, with the star, because this is all about healing. This is about healing. So there's an opportunity for you to heal here, especially this week, right? So the karma, even like rewind, I'll take you right down to the touchdown, is, if you go to past lives, then maybe you abandoned people, right, in your past life, and now it's karma. It's all the karma is being come to be balanced out now. Yeah, but I don't want to make this too complex for you. Is to just focus, manifesting generators, on feeling whatever this regret, disappointment, and sadness is. And as an MG, it's like I'm not going to be running and distracting myself with these million things that my mind wants me to do. I'm just going to sit and I'm going to heal. The star is about healing, right? The star comes after the tarot card or the tower card. And I'm just going to feel. And what happens when you do that is you go through the tunnel, right? Go through the big tunnel into spirit awareness through the emotional body. That's what I see here. But it's about listening, like listening to your deeper self, listening to your heart, right? And that it's okay to be disappointed. Bring it back to the self. That's all shadow work is, right? You got the arrow with your bow and you got it pulled back. Shadow work is like, I'm putting down the arrow, I'm putting down the bow, and I'm going to go inside. What am I projecting onto other people? Okay. And listening. And if you just stop and go deeper within, and not be on the surface of your mind, you're going to be guided, right? Your inner guru, your sage, your inner teacher, whatever you want to call it, your intuition, it will guide you to where you need to go to heal, but it's going to involve feeling for the MGs. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for the MGs. Yeah. That's right. Slow down. Teresa, that's right. Slow down. There's no rush. Wherever you go, there you are, Okay. Okay. So where are we next here? Are we at the projectors? I think we're at the projectors here. Okay. Okay. So the projectors are right there. And so they don't have the open and enveloping aura. This is the teddy bear aura. The projectors have the laser beam, right? Right. So it's absorbing and focused, right? And it's points to the other types, and it's pointing right there, that yellow shape, and that's the self, right? So the projectors can go right to the self. when invited. Now, if they try to do that and they're not invited, they're not recognized or invited, it's painful. I said this before, it can be painful to the other types, you know, that energy coming right at them. So this is 20% of the world. So I'm a projector, 2-4 emotional, projector, 3 parts right. Is we have to be recognized. So we're here to guide the other types. But we have to be recognized for our gifts and talents. And just to make sure that they get you. They know what they're getting. And then invite it for their guidance and their help. Yeah. Okay, so what do we got for the projectors here? What else did I want to say about the projector? Okay, what do we got for the projector? That's way too many. And listening. So while you're waiting for an invitation, projector, is listen to your deeper self, what you're being called to study, because the projectors are here to study. Some kind of system. They're here to master a system or systems to help the other types. So we're really driven to help the other types. But the right people that really get us, right? Not just anyone. So you got the Tower card. The manifesting generator's got the Star card. Well, this comes before the Star card. This is the Tower. People don't like seeing that in a tarot reading. It scares them. But it's a good thing. You know why? Because it liberates you. It liberates you, projectors. And it's liberating you from this. Right? This hold. Right? Liberating from you this. The non-self. The ego. The ego non-self. Telling you to be something you're not. Right? Usually a generator telling you to be a generator. Telling you to be a manifestor, right? And then not to trust your strategy, to be invited, recognized, and invited. So shocks and upheavals. And if we go back here, there's an ending. I may have to get another card for this to clarify that, the story for the projectors. So really it's a liberation to look at it like that. It's a divine intervention. There's divine intervention happening for you. It can be a good kind of shock. It will be it depends on how attached you are. If you're in this devil energy and attached to something, then it can be painful. Right? If you're identified with your ego. But if you're not, if you just completely let go, then it can be something really positive. You can kind of ease into the change. Yeah. But I just think of the shocks that I've experienced in my life. Like last year, I unexpectedly had to move. I had no idea. I think I talked about this in one of my videos. I didn't know where I was going to live, and everything was up in the air. It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me in a long time, you know? Okay. Just for the, I want to pick another card just to give us more information about this tower for the projectors. Okay. Because we can get attached too, and especially if you see, where is it? If you can see my mouse there, that's the spleen. If you've got an open splenic, that means that you can hang on to things that are not good for you for too long. make you insecure. Or remember that invitations can also expire for a projector. So that could be a tower moment too. Okay. Do we have anything else for the projector here? Okay. I think you got this last time too. The Lover's card. So Major Arcana, the 6 and the 16. So this is relationships. It's divine unions. And then you've got the 14, the Temperance card. So this is about patience. That's how I look at this. This is angel energy. It's like the opposite of the Devil card. Is angel energy. So it's about being patient. Being patient. And that's some kind of divine intervention. This is divine intervention. The Tower is bringing a relationship to your projectors. And just to be patient. Because remember, you have to be invited. Right? And it takes, if anything that I've learned as a projector, it's patience, 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 patience. Yeah. Patience gives you patience. That's the gift of patience. It gives you patience. Yeah. Yeah. So to be patient, divine intervention is coming. This soulmate relationship is happening. Twin flame is happening. True love is happening, and to be patient in your invitation, in your process. And then the ego is telling you, you must agree with me. So I guess as a projector, because you are so wise, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a projector too, I'd say it if I were a manifestor or a generator as well, that you are wise. You are wise. Projectors take in so much information, and we have such a deep understanding of the other because of that crazy aura we have, right? This focused and absorbing aura. We can like zone in on a person and know them, like know them better than they actually know themselves as a projector. Focused and absorbing. So you see, and you want to help people. At our essence, we want to help people. We want to do our purpose, and our purpose is to guide people in this lifetime. So if you're uninvited, not invited, they're not open to you, any of these other types are not open to you energetically, it's going to be painful to them. It's going to bounce off, right? That laser beam aura is going to bounce back to you, and you're going to feel bitter, So this ego is built on insecurity, right? This non-self is built on insecurity. So if you're listening to this ego, we'll just tell them this. We'll just speak louder, interrupt them. Point out all their patterns and what they've got to do. Throw the big bulldozer of information at them. See what gets in, right? Throw the past on the wall. See what sticks. Right? That's what the ego's telling you. And all you're getting is like, no, you're arrogant. You know it all, right? Not being received at all, right? This can make you feel bitter. So don't be listening to the ego, because the ego wants to be validated. It wants to be agreed with. It wants that other person to say, yes, you're right. Right? Yes, you're right. You're right. I should be doing this. And this is the pattern that I'm in. Right? Okay, then I'm building up the ego. I'm building up the ego. I'm building up the ego. So you have to know. You have to know in your heart. Okay, I can see this pattern with this person. They're not inviting me. They're not recognizing me. They don't value me. They're not inviting me. I'm just going to bite my tongue and not say anything. And that's really hard for a projector, because we don't like to see people suffer. especially when we know we've got like a gold. Here's a big bag of gold for you. And all they see is an enemy. This is what the ego does to people, right? The ego does not want projectors near any of these types. The ego doesn't wants them to be in this Five of Pentacles devil energy, right? There's no, I'm going to do it all myself. Just listen to me. You don't need anybody else. You don't need that projector over there, that know-it-all, arrogant, right? That's trying to manipulate you and control you and oppress you. You just need me, right? That's exactly what the ego is doing to you, oppressing you, manipulating you. So is to not listen to this, because this will come through, especially when you reject it, you know, and they're not listening to me. They don't validate me, and you're feeling low, right? You're feeling low. Your self-esteem is low. Am I ever going to do my purpose? Get to do my purpose? That's when the ego swoops in, right? When you're at your lowest, right? Yeah. So you don't need to feed your ego. Just know in your heart, I know I'm a projector. I can see that person's pattern. Yeah, it's kind of sad that they're not listening to me. It's their loss. Don't go to you and attack yourself. And this is listening to the ego attacking you. What am I doing wrong? And blah, blah, blah. Just follow your... And the thing is with the projector, like I said before, the other types, they get the, generators, they get the full tank of gas. We get maybe a quarter tank of gas. We're really smart and efficient with how we use our energy, So you don't want to be just wasting your quarter tank on just anybody, It's the people that really want you. They really want your help. And the people that I work with in my program and then readings, I just did a reading with somebody this week. It was so successful. That's your magic word. And I was just like, I love the people that I work with now because they're so reaching, right? They're not in resistance. This is wasting your energy and trying to help people that don't want your help, right? But the people that do want your help, it's like such a beautiful energy flow, with the generators and the manifesting generators and the reflectors and the manifestors, right? So don't be looking for this, the ego needing validation, because it just wants to feed itself, right? It just wants to feed itself. It's self-importance. So that's what I see there. And to commit to your strategy, and then you'll be in the right relationship. Because, the generators can get trapped in experiences, but the projectors really need to watch it too. Because look at absorb. We absorb the other at such a deep, deep level. It's like we're in that energy, And it takes a long time. And I speak from experience, right? From my marriage. When we divorced, it took me a long time to decondition and discharge her energy from my energy field. So you don't want to be just running with the first one to ask you to dance. You know what I mean? You want to be like, are they the right one? Are they the right one for me? And following your strategy. Yeah, not just getting with anybody. Because the relationships can be like a nightmare if you're with the wrong person, right? That doesn't get you, right? That doesn't get you at all. And you end up wasting all your energy. And then all those people you're destined to help are not getting your help because you're too focused on this. That doesn't want your help, And it all goes back to that childhood, right? That's where it all goes back to, is right here. The little projector, tiny tot, trying to help their mother, trying to help their father. And we're born into these families that don't see projectors. They don't value projectors, right? And this is all about the Saturnian lessons of getting you strong in yourself. Right? Getting you strong in yourself. So this all goes back to this, right? Trying to help people that don't want to be helped. It's trying to save your mother, trying to save your father, trying to save your brother or your sister. Yeah, just to let that go. Don't be listening to that ego. And be patient for the invitation and know that divine intervention is happening. You don't got to do anything, right? As a projector. Yeah, it's just about waiting. Waiting's your biggest lesson. that's just my alarm. Okay. So let's go to the manifestors. I think they're next, and then we'll end with the reflectors. There's the overlays. Okay. Manifestors. 20% of the world. And they've got the closed and repelling aura there. Closed and repelling. So about 9% of the world. Not very many. They want peace. The manifestors want peace. There's another view of them too. Right? So they're a non-energy type too, like the projector and the reflector. We don't have the life force energy that the other types have. Okay? And here's the manifestors. So they've got to really listen, because they're really dependent upon divine inspiration. They're really dependent on their intuition. So this means removing themselves, especially with this 1333 manifestors. This is about retreating, right? Going into a peaceful environment and really going deep and listening, right? Not hearing. Manifestors don't want to listen to this. They want to listen to their deeper self, right? Yeah. And then they inform, they share what they're doing, and then they manifest, they'll manifest. So what the ego does, the non-self for the manifestor, is trying to tell you that you're a generator. Oh, you just have to sit around, right? Just have to sit around and wait for something to happen, you know? Something to respond to. And that's not you. That's not going to work for you, sitting around waiting and being in the flow. That's for the generators. They respond with a yes or no. Life's not coming to you in that way, manifestors. Right? You're here moving energy. Right? You're here to impact. Right? You're here to impact. So you're here to initiate, start things. Things that are being divinely guided. Right? Whatever your intuition is telling you. To do this, do that. So the biggest fear of the manifestor is that of rejection. That what they share with other people will be rejected, or they'll be judged. Right? Or their initiation will be rejected. That's none of your business. That's just a fear. It's a total fear. So what do we got for the manifestors? So when you're not operating correctly, manifestors, you're feeling angry or clinically depressed, like really depressed. But when you're operating correctly as a manifestor, and you're sharing and you're informing, you're letting people know what you're up to, then you feel peace. And manifestors like to spend time on their own too, in their own aura. Okay, let's see what we got for the manifestors. For the listening. For Saturn and listening. Okay. So new beginnings. For the manifestor, you got the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands. So this is Ace of Wands is new beginnings, but it's really coming from the divine. So this is perfect. So some kind of inspiration is coming to you, and to trust it. Whatever messages you're receiving is to trust it. And it's passion. It's all about, the wands are all about passion. So something's getting you all riled up. Something's getting you back in your passion. Your mojo's going again, manifestors. You're excited about life. You're excited about people, relationships, whatever it is. Whatever lessons you've been in, right? It's coming to a close for the manifestors. The burdens, right? That karmic situation that you've been in since, well, for even longer than June 4th, but it's got intensified since June. That's coming to an end now. So you have to look at your life in this way. Not listening to the ego, the non-self telling you got no power. That's what the ego will tell you. You got no power. Somebody else has to come in and save you. White knight's got to come in and save you. Right? Somebody else is going to do it. Somebody else is going to initiate you. That's not how it works, manifestors. You're the one to initiate. You're your own savior, and you can completely shift your reality, right, when you start operating correctly. But it takes that humility, right? That humility to get out of that Five of Pentacles, to say that you don't know it all, right? Not listening to the ego, that you don't know it all. Letting go of these addictions, whatever this addiction or attachment is that you're ending. To let that go. Maybe you got people around your life that are in this energy, right? All materialistic. They don't believe in any of this spirituality stuff, right? Completely identified with their ego. Maybe you're letting that all go. Starting a new cycle. This is so perfect. I just love synchronicity. Okay, you got the procrastinate card, the complete opposite of the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is go, yes, initiate, passion, inspiration, new beginnings. For this is like such a manifestor card right here. And then you get the ego. This is your enemy, manifestors. It's everybody's enemy, but it's really your enemy with this Saturn energy. And what's the ego telling you? Procrastinate. Do you see him? He's like slumped over on the couch with the remote or on his laptop or his phone, right? So this is the ego will say, well, this is how you avoid a challenge. Procrastinate. Manada. Right? I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. Right? I'll initiate next week. So the ego promises you that you're going to be safe if you put off making a decision. So what's the ego's blackmail? Because the ego's always got blackmail. If you're listening to this, then the ego's got blackmail on you. And, right? Little manifestor, tiny tot. Fear of rejection. Fear of being controlled. Right? Back when you're a little tiny tot. All those wounds are coming up. This is what you have to face. And this is your strategy. This is the ego's strategy, right? It's just beyond the computer, right? And meanwhile, when you're in this procrastination energy, you're moving farther and farther and farther away from this Ace of Wands passion. This is what you want to pursue. This will give you peace. This will give you anger. It will give you depression. Right? When you're sleeping and you're just feeling pessimistic about life. It's keeping you in this cycle of experience that this wants you to break out of, right? For the manifestors. So this is the ego saying you'll be safe if you put off making a decision. Yeah, and a way to avoid challenges. And you can't avoid your challenges, right? You can't. We're here to be challenged. As a humanity, we're here to be challenged. I always think of it as the flying fish, and the fish is jumping out of the water. That's us jumping out of the water. We're transcending, right? We're transcending our limitations. That's what the Ace of Wands is telling you to do. It's time to transcend these old patterns that you've been in. That since childhood, and that your parents have probably been in, and your ancestors. So one of the sutras for the Aquarian age is when the pressure of time is on, Start. And then the pressure will be removed. So this is about committing. Committing to this Ace of Wands. Committing to that divine inspiration you're getting. I'm just going to commit. I'm going to do it. And it's going to get you out of this energy. You know? I'm a projector. And whenever I get into that state of procrastination, because I know this energy really, really well. I know I have to start doing something. But it's almost like you get overtaken by inertia. Like it seems too big. Well, you start off with a little tiny baby step, right? A tiny baby step. And for you, the tiny baby step is to share it, right? Share it with somebody what you want to do. What's divine inspiration is coming to you. And then share it with somebody. A trusted friend, not somebody that's ruled by this. Because as soon as you tell somebody that, oh, I've been receiving this divine, you're going to hear that ego that's in your head. It's in their head, and it's going to just be talking at you. Oh, don't do that. That's crazy, right? What if this happened? What if that happened? You're not asking permission. The manifestors are not generators. You're not asking permission when you're sharing. All you're doing is sharing. I'm doing this. I'm committed to doing this 100%. And I'm sharing with this person, right? I'm just sharing with this person, especially if this person is going to be impacted by what I'm moving forward on. You know, that's the key. Think about who's going to be impacted by your decision, by your initiation. That's the person you want to share with, right? Yeah. So that is my message for the manifestors, is to listen to your deeper self, not to hear, which is only to listen to this. This is very limited. The ego can only see so far. He's very, very limited. But this is where your higher self, your intuition, knows exactly why you're on the planet, what you're supposed to do on the planet, what your purpose is on the planet. This is what you trust, right? 100%. Yeah. Okay. But I see something really ending. A chapter is ending for the manifestors, and some passionate new beginning is starting for you. But it's time to commit. No procrastinating. Because tomorrow, what's that book? Tomorrow Never Comes? Or I'll Cry Tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. That's for the manifestors. So let's finish it off with the reflectors. Okay. Oh, right on. We got some manifestors on the chat here. Okay. Okay, Katie Cox, you're a manifestor? Okay, great. Thank you, love, because I really like the kids. I don't know how old your daughter is. You got this information. Yeah, Mojo, thank God. K.A. Vacos is saying that. Been depressed. You're a manifestor, eh? Yeah. So that's the anger turned inward. That's the non-self manifestor. Yeah. And sometimes we need that experience, right? The Saturnian karmic stuff that we've been in to realize what we don't want, you know? Like if you look at a karmic relationship, well, it looked so good on paper. And I have all this security, this money security, and this nice house and all this security and safety, but there's no love, right? There's no Ace of Wands in it. Well, then you get to feel it, right? It's time to follow our hearts now. It's time to follow our divine guidance, especially as manifestors. Teen, yeah. That's great. So with the manifestor teen, they need space, right? They need freedom, and they don't like to be bossed around. Love. So don't be bossing your teen manifestor around. And they like for you to inform them, like sharing doesn't come easy, right? Because your daughter is like, if I share anything, She's going to feel like, I feel like I'm being controlled, or what I want to do will be met with resistance, right? But you have to explain to her that every time that she shares what she's up to and what she's doing, right, that it makes it easier. You don't feel, because we have a suspicion of manifestors, what they're up to, what are they up to, because we're feeling them at a deep level. It's just to say, and then you inform too, like you share with her and model it for her. Yeah. It'll make her life a lot easier. She's very powerful, right, as a manifestor, as a teen manifestor. Okay, that's all I got to say for the manifestors. It's good that there's so many. Okay. And let's go for the reflectors. 1%. 1% of the world are reflectors. Look, they got nothing colored in. That's what makes them a reflector, right? And their thing is when they're operating correctly, they're surprised. They're delighted by people and by life, right? So they've got the resistant and sampling auras. They just take little nibbles, right? Projectors, we take them all in. We take that other person in so deeply, their energy. That's why we know them so well. But with the reflector, you're just like taking a little nibble, just a nibble. Right? You're not taking them in deeply, which is to protect you, right? Because you're so open. So when you're not operating correctly, you feel disappointed. Disappointed, oh, another disappointing relationship, another disappointing experience, right? So the reflector has to follow the moon, the cycles of the moon. And that's going to give them a lot of information. Right? Because they change with the moon. They're never the same. The reflector's never the same. So they're really the barometer for our group, right? Whatever group they belong to, they're like the embodiment of what is going on with the group. So they really talk about solitude, right? The reflector really needs alone time. If we go up here with this 13, you really need to be alone to discharge. Go on little retreats by yourself so you can feel yourself. Okay, what do we got for the reflector? What do we got for the reflectors? So you've got to be surprised. Like your big question, reflectors, every morning is, who am I today? Who am I today? I think you had the devil card last time. It was all about detoxing, I think. There we go. So you got the 4 of Wands. Then that's a celebratory. That's a happy card too. It's a happy relationship card. This is like the projector's got the Lover's card. This is around the same, right? 4 of Wands. This is divine union. It's the twin flame card. It's marriage. It's coming home. So some kind of cycle is ending for the reflectors. Some karmic is ending, but to make way for this new to come in for the reflector. Okay, let's see what the ego is telling the reflector. What's the ego telling the reflector? Yeah, it's the relationship year. So with the reflector in relationship, you really need to make sure that other person is seeing you, because you are a reflector. You reflect back that other person to make sure that they're seeing you. They can see you, not just themselves. And you'll do that, and you'll know that by listening to that other person. Are they just describing themselves, or are they really seeing me? You'll know, right? And then with relationships, you got to wait for the moon. You got to wait for the whole cycle of the moon before you really enter and commit into one. So you want to be with the right person. And they got to know how changeable you are. I'm a reflector. This is just who I am. If you're expecting me to be the same person every single day, you got to go down the street somewhere else. It's not me. They got to appreciate you. So you got two ego trap cards, and you got the wear the mask. So wear the mask for a reflector would be I'm a generator, right? Or I'm a manifestor, right? And that's not you. So that would be listening to the ego. Go initiate some relationship because it's the Four of Wands, right? That's not you. You're not going to initiate a relationship. Or you can just dive in. I just met you last night. Let's move in together. That's not you. You got to wait for that moon, right? To go through all. You're going to take them in. You're going to be nibbling every single day. You're nibbling at energy. And then you get the full picture. This is the reflector. They're on the external. They're outside. They're objective. They need to be objective, right? That's their power. So you need to give yourself time. So wearing a mask would be like, I don't need time. And that's not how you operate, right? And this is divine. This is divine. So you don't listen to the mind. Well, if I don't initiate now, or if I don't jump on this opportunity now, he'll go away or she'll go away. If they're divinely, this is divine. Four Wands is divine union, then they're going to be there for you. They'll wait for the moon cycle because they want you. They don't just want anybody. You're 1% of the world, right? As a reflector. So this is about saying, take the mask off, reflector, and just be loud and proud. I'm a reflector. This is who I am, right? This is who I am. And this is about revealing your passions and your vulnerabilities and your dreams. And, if the ego said, well, you can't tell them that. They'll reject you. What will they think of you? Well, then they're not for you if they're doing that, if they're rejecting you. That means you're getting closer to the right person. So this is about being authentic as a reflector, The thing is, we have to start coming out of the spiritual closet, the people that are, especially reflectors. You got to let people know who you are. You're so rare, Yeah. And that the right people, this Four of Wands, this divine union that's coming for you, is gonna appreciate you, right? For you. That's who they want. They want you. They don't want some fake mask. And then the other one, I don't think I heard that right. I don't think I heard that right card. This is more ego, right? Talking you out of your intuition, whatever your intuition is telling you, whatever downloads you're getting through the moon cycle, the lunar cycle. I don't think you heard that right. This is what your intuition really meant to say. And it's always like manipulated around, right? What the ego wants for itself. Remember, the ego is not your pal. He's not your friend, right? There's no love there with the ego. The ego is all about ego, building itself up. This is where you want to go, right? This expanded state of awareness. That's what loves you, your higher self, the divine. Yeah. So this is, I don't think I heard that right. The ego is also telling you that, you shouldn't do that, and talking you out of your feelings, right? Yeah. And it's a lack of trust in the self, reflector. That's what I see. And we need to go no farther or further than this. That little inner child, that little reflector child that was misunderstood, right? That I can't be myself. Right? Because you're so rare. You're such a rare bird, 1% of the planet. Right? I would love to hear if like a reflector mom had a reflector child. That would be something, wouldn't it? reflecting one another, reflecting one another. But chances are you were born in a generator family, right? And being misunderstood. So there's a lack of trust in the self because you're not taught that. You're not taught who you are and what your gifts are, right? The reflectors are often blamed. Oh, that's the bad apple in the class, right? That's the problem child over there. And it's not true at all. All you're doing is reflecting the unhealth of the group, of the classroom, right? So if there's a lot of unexpressed anger in the class, right, or frustration, maybe teachers not loving what they're doing, like go to generator, you're going to express that and act that out. That's just what a reflector child does. And then they're blamed. They're the scapegoat, right? So you end up wearing this mask to protect yourself. That's what the ego is saying. You got to wear this mask and pretend you're someone that you're not, you know? And then you don't trust your intuition. Yeah. So that's what this is saying for the Four of Wands is like your divine counterpart that's coming in does not want you wearing a mask and does not want you questioning your power and your intuition. That's what I see there for the reflectors. Yeah. And to listen, and to learn, like go back, reflect on your past relationships. That's a good thing to do for all the types, actually. Just to reflect on your past relationships, and especially if you didn't operate correctly with your strategy, what happened? And what happened when you did, right? And the experiences are going to be night and day, right? This is how we learn from the past. Okay. So that's what I got. 3, 4, 5. So they're about 2 hours, eh? Oh. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, I get really excited about getting this information to people. Katie Cox says, I'm a projector. Why do I also relate to the manifestor? You may have a manifestor in your life. You know? I'm a projector too, but I feel very connected to the manifestors as well. Like my earthly mother was a manifestor, so I understand them. I understand manifestors. Of course, you're going to understand them too. Yeah. So that's what I would look at. There's probably a manifestor in your life. And maybe you don't know if they're a manifestor or not, or a manifestor in your field that's about, because you got the Lover's card too as a projector, that a manifestor may be the lover that's coming in for you as a projector, right? The divine union, and that you're already in tune with that energy. The thing with divine union, it's already happened. In the higher realms, it's about waiting, right? That temperance card, waiting for it to manifest in the 3D realm. So that's what I suspect. Yeah. When you've got a relationship with a manifestor coming in, or it's already there. Okay. So what do I want to say about this? So if you don't feel that you're through your Saturn retrograde lesson, it's just to listen. That's my biggest message for people, is to really go deep and listen to their own intuition. And it's getting so strong in my personal experience. My intuition is getting so strong now. And the more you commit to it, the louder and louder and louder it gets. And it's going to guide you. It's going to guide you. You can depend on it 100%, especially during these times. We're coming up to the eclipse season. Mars is coming into retrograde. This is their test. This is us growing up, taking responsibility for our shadows, taking responsibility for our own state of awareness, right? And just moving forward. And I can't stress enough, is sadhana is to some kind of spiritual practice that you do every single day, and that's gonna really help you to listen, like deeply listen to your own self, right? Is giving yourself that time and that consistency, right? So that's something, if you're like at a loss, like, I don't know what I should do, Michael, with the Saturn going direct, commit to a daily practice. It could be just 3 minutes a day, just sitting alone, because you need to be alone. You need to be in solitude to be able to reflect on the past. We have to let go of the past. For the Aquarian age, we can't be dragging in that, matching set of Samsonite luggage of emotional baggage. That's not going to come through to the Aquarian age, right? We've got to let all that go. So that's what I would say. And I got lots of free meditations. There's one on my website for intuition. I think I have that up. That's a really good one to practice. Yeah. Okay. So have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and be sure to leave your name and your type and everything below in the comment section. Okay? So Satnam Aloha, everybody. Talk to you later. See you next video.